On today's DNVR Nuggets podcast, we're going to be talking about what AG's contract extension means for the Jokic era and also for Bruce Brown.
Wait, what?
We're also going to share some notes from Nuggets practice and some final takeaways from preseason. But first, check out our animation. Okay, people, the vibe is off, and people are starting to notice. The season's almost here. We need a plan.
We need a plan? The Nuggets need a plan. Calvin Booth needs a plan. Unless you call letting championship players like KCP walk out of the door for nothing a plan.
Okay, Anger, calm down.
We have a plan.
There you go, Fear.
But I'm afraid Michael Malone isn't going to follow the plan. And I worry that Murray isn't healthy enough for the plan. And don't get me started on how good the rest of the Western Conference has gotten.
Sadness, do you have any ideas?
What's the point? The Celtics already won. Tatum got an Olympic gold medal too. It's the year of Tatum. Oh no.
It's not even fun no more. Last year was so boring.
I wish I was bored, but there's nothing boring about all of us losing our jobs.
Come on, anxiety. We're not going to lose our jobs.
Oh yeah? You think the bosses are gonna keep us around for a losing team? I'll be the first one fired. I bet I'm fired by January. What if they trade Jokic? We're all gonna be fired by Christmas.
So it's new, but it's the same. There it is. Look at that. Oh, man. Is everything new around here? Oh, my gosh. What is, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR show.
Let's go.
Let's go. Presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code DNVR365 when you sign up. Choose your offer and find out why, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We have ourselves a show. That animation, by the way, shout out to Benjamin Stern. Super Nuggets fan.
Yeah.
Known him since the Denver Stiffs days before DNVR. Just a super fan, cool animator, and he crushed that thing.
Sure did. Shout out Benjamin Stern.
So good.
You guys can check him out on our tweet. We link to it. We should throw it in the description too, Kale, if you can just throw the link to his site. Really cool guy. Hopefully, maybe we actually do more of those in the future. We'll find out.
I want him to make an animation of me not in a purple outfit. That's my challenge to Ben Stern.
Wynn's closet. Brown, gray, black.
I have no purple in my closet.
How about purple? How about deep purple?
That wasn't Win. That was set.
That's right.
That was Fear.
Fear.
That was Fear.
Yeah,
But,
Fear.
You guys can check out, if you didn't see it, you can see the full video on our YouTube page or on our Twitter page. It's awesome. You're going to want to check it out. Today's show, lots to get to. I'm excited. It's been several days without being able to talk Nuggets with you fellas. So I'm excited to catch up. Here's Harrison Wind.
And we got the season starting tonight. NBA
The NBA
games
season.
tonight.
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
It is crazy, actually. Which game are you guys more excited for?
Well, for me, it's just the ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
Is it you too?
You know
The
what I mean?
banner,
Yeah, dude,
you know.
totally.
Unveiling the banner, or I guess raising the banner.
Do you think we'll get any Adam Silver screen time tonight? Oh, this is just so exciting. This is so exciting.
The cynical one over there, Brendan Vogt.
Hey, not true. We talked Nuggets last night, buddy. Good to be back, though.
That is true. We did talk Nuggets last
And
night.
expand our thoughts on Mr. Nugget. You want to talk about an injection of vibes, guys. The AG re-signing is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
It's so true, man. We do have some fun stuff today, including notes from practice, but I got to start by promoting. I feel like we've had a great final, like the Nuggets, preseason had its ups and downs, offseason had its ups and downs, some anxiety, but the last 5 days or so, player previews up on our YouTube page. We've got the animation out. And the thing I think I'm most excited about, the three of us banged out an incredible season preview, our first ever in-depth season preview for diehards only. And it just so happens to be on the same day that we launched a new diehard, strategy, plan. I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah, well, we have an offer for diehards right now, $4 a month. It's our lowest ever offer.
That's insane.
Around for a limited time, but you get access to stuff like this season preview. And you get access to written content from us three all season long with a diehard membership. You also get access to written content from the entire site. So all the other Denver sports as well. Tons of other perks come along with that, but that's a big thing heading into the season. And perfect timing, with Nuggets opening night on Thursday. So get signed up. Limited time offer, intro offer, $48 total, just $4 a month. Sign up on thednvr.com. You can read the season preview right after the show. It's big, it's huge, it's massive. Our season preview, we all chipped in on it. Depth chart, key storylines, Adam's lineup he wants to see, the Nuggets playbook is in our season preview.
So, by the way, on that, I did 3 plays. One of them is a fun one. The Westbrook lob play, I broke down. That play actually dates back to 2020. The Nuggets used to run it very differently. It's cooler that they run it with Westbrook, but it's really kind of like a one-off pet play.
Yeah.
But the end-of-game action known as twist, to me, that one to me is actually probably the single most important thing for Nuggets fans. If you might care about playbook, it's the single most important play because that, you think about Denver in the clutch, that was the bedrock of their clutch time offense. And CB stepping into that role, it brings some interesting questions. I hope I explore in that.
And you break that all down too. We got Vogt's bold predictions in there as well.
Yeah, man. Surprise, I'm a little higher on the Nuggets than consensus. That never happens, does it? But no, I injected a little optimism in there. And just on the membership push, the diehard memberships, one thing I love about ours is our written content is good. We believe in it. But we're offering you much more than that. Like Wynn mentioned, discounts at the bar and events. Yeah. And that's, if you're getting this great rate, you're going to see it pay for itself pretty quickly if you're hanging out with the community, signing up for our events, discounted beers, and so on. So it's about being a part of a membership. We're trying to build a little community, and I really think it's a great time to jump on board.
Another push, people don't maybe know. Could I talk about the change in roles and some of this stuff? Yeah. So Harrison is now the new head of content. My old job, the new head of content at DNVR. So one, sign up for this because it'll really make him look good. So support us and
get me to keep my job.
Get him there. But for me, I wrote 5 segments of this thing, and my hope is that I can do more film breakdowns and stuff, but it is going to be for diehards. Like, at the end of the day, we do have to make money at this company, and it's the best way to support us. So if you enjoy the breakdowns and some of the written coverage, you expect more of that from me this year on Nuggets.
Love that.
And there's a link right in the description. I think it's the top line of the description under this show that you can click. It will take you right to sign up.
Very real. If you come to the bar like for 2 games this year, you'll pay for it in just the discounts on your bar tab alone.
There you go.
Totally. Oh, lastly, I was going to hit one more thing on that I like in there. I did a statistical deep dive on Jamal Murray and his fatigue.
This was good.
Relative to Donovan Mitchell and Devin Booker, who I think are his 2 closest, contemporaries. Mm-hmm. And there's some really interesting numbers in the data that point to what we talked about last year with maybe Jamal better early in games, not so much late. There's some interesting stuff in there. I'll only tease it with that. But now let's get to practice. Talk about practice.
Really quick, shout out Brian Mayerhofer, who just signed up.
Shout out Cedric. He's signing up too. Let's go. Let's get a little sign up train going here.
Yeah, let's get it.
Everyone who signed up at any point, we appreciate you. Practice. You guys may have noticed there was a bit of news before practice. It broke last night. Are you aware of what I'm talking about? Of course you are. We did an emergency
Bronny
podcast.
James is going to play tonight.
That's right. I hope you're in your seats by the second quarter. No, Aaron Gordon has signed an extension with the Denver Nuggets, which is actually now official. The Nuggets released that as well. So first reported by ESPN, now official, confirmed by the team. Aaron Gordon is sticking around with the Nuggets on, I guess, what is technically a max deal, fellas, but the little bit of finagling in that he's opting into his deal before he extends it. So we got to speak with Aaron Gordon, Michael Malone, about this today. Here's Aaron Gordon on the decision to remain in Denver. I think we have a great opportunity to win. That's really what I'm here to do. That's really what I want to do, is win. Playing alongside these guys, being coached under this staff, being part of this organization, it's just a blessing. It's just a blessing. I'm ecstatic. I'm really excited about it, and I'm glad to be back.
The funniest part about how he said that is he said it with 0 excitement.
That is true. He didn't sound excited, but he did say all of those words.
Did he lose the shooting competition at the end of practice?
Nobody was like, I'm ecstatic. I'm really excited.
150 mil. It's a nice paycheck.
No, but I mean, that's just AG.
That is just AG. So that is kind of how he sounds. Anytime you get these great quotes from us, they are great quotes. It is funny to recognize AG, a laid back fella, but I think he means this. And he actually went on to say more about it. There was a follow up if there was any give and take here, like push and pull on getting this deal done. And Aaron Gordon said it was just about finding a win-win, but it doesn't sound like there was too much tension. They reached this deal. I think the timing, Denver fans are certainly thrilled about it.
Well, I think from the timing, you guys probably hit this last night, but they needed to do it before the season to do this opt-in and extend, which keeps them below the second apron for another year.
Yes.
And still gives him the, quote, max amount he could get on this extension. So it could have dragged into the season. Like, it could have, but a huge sigh of relief that it did not.
And I'll just skip really quickly. Michael Malone touched on that. He did say it was the same thing, right? That this is not something that's going to be weighing over Aaron or the team this season. And same with Jamal, by the way. And I do think that that's big. More from Aaron Gordon on loving Denver and the Nuggets. He said, I love the characters on this team. It's a high character team. Everybody is ultra confident, ultra talented, and just good guys. Genuine good people off the floor and killers on the floor. It's an amazing feeling to have a group of guys that care for you so much. It doesn't happen a lot. I say that often, but it doesn't happen a lot. Playing alongside Joker, Jamal, and MPJ, and being coached by Michael Malone, what more could you ask for? From the moment I got here, Michael Malone has put me in a position to succeed and flourish. He's encouraged me to be myself, and he's coached me and allowed me to be myself. This is the good stuff. Aaron Gordon reflecting on being in Denver is the good stuff.
Really is.
But I think that we get to talk about this right now, and he gets to talk about this and not the opposite, this lingering, this looming. We maybe overstate the vibe stuff, but this matters. And this is a huge win for the fans and the team to just have this locked in, guys.
Totally, man. I mean, you guys were referencing this on Thursday's show, the post-game show. To me, that was the beginning of sort of a vibes reset, like a vibes picking up. I don't think it was a great preseason all around. There were some concerning things that happened, but I thought, and we'll get to this later, Thursday's game was phenomenal. You get the AG extension. You get some good momentum and some good stuff going on, and I just feel like, it's underappreciated from the outside how much these things really are the story. Murray's extension, AG's extension. Like, guys know when there's a lot of money up for grabs.
Yep.
And how could you not think of it? And I do think there's something to it. It was inevitable that it played out the way that it did. But now that it's over, I think the whole team is like, now the season begins.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think there's something to that for sure. There's also another question that Aaron Gordon gave an interesting answer on. Adam actually asked this one on the alleged change of emphasis in NBA officiating. For more context, if you've missed this, some weeks ago, Carlisle was on the radio talking about how the coaches have been informed by the league that they're going to try to keep up these rule changes we saw last year, right? And Adam asked Aaron Gordon about that, who said, we'll see.
Oh, it was the best answer.
They say that they're going to enforce physicality, and then people start whining, and then they start calling ticky
names
tacks
right
again.
there.
It honestly looked like he wanted to. And then he said, and then they start calling the ticky tacks again. But I hope they do. I hope they do lean into it. He said, we're a physical team. We don't flop on this team. We don't even really embellish on this team, which I think is true, guys. He said, I love it. I love the idea of a more physical, less ticky-tack league.
Yeah. I love it too, and I love it for AG specifically. I actually think he would be one of the main beneficiaries of that very thing.
Yeah.
We also spoke with Michael Malone, who was a bit more mixed on it. First of all, he attempted a distinction that I'm not sure really landed, but he attempted it. He said it's not that the league's necessarily getting more physical, it's just that they're not going to call as many fouls.
Which I think is actually, I think that is an important distinction.
You think so?
It's not that you're allowed to put your hands on guys or do this or that.
Okay,
it's just you're playing defense the same way, but now they're not going to call you for dumb rip through type stuff. Like, stuff guys are going to do whether the rules call for it or not.
Right. Which everyone's on board with, but Malone, I think, called out ahead of time his potential hypocrisy. He said, I'm sure there will be some nights when I'm upset that Jokic is getting hammered and he's not gone to the line. So
Do you guys think it will be prison ball rules again to start the year?
Well, he actually cited this. He goes, what I think is it's going to be more like it was after the All-Star break.
Pre-playoffs.
Like they already made the change and they're just going to run with it. And I would say I think that. And I get the skepticism. I even get Aaron Gordon's skepticism. I actually think the NBA was embarrassed by four 60-point games in one. So I actually think they are going to enforce these rules.
Especially the Karl Anthony Towns one.
I don't.
That was the final. That was the final straw.
They're like, Luka, okay.
That was
Embiid?
actually the final straw.
Hold on, Towns, come on.
Well, then the Olympics happened, and while they had their own weird set of rules,
that's right.
They also people loved that part. that guys like Shea and Embiid couldn't do their thing.
Dude, the Embiid one on Jokic in the game. Honestly, I bet you all of this stuff went into the thing, and they're like, "Yeah, it's embarrassing that guys think they should do that because it's so when they don't call it, it's so clearly done."
Yes,
Right.
Yeah, you just look ridiculous.
You do look ridiculous when you try to do that.
We have a couple more quotes from Malone.
Yeah.
On the other side of the break.
Should we go on the break? Good call out.
Let's hit a break.
All right, let's hit a break.
Guys, shout out UC Health and shout out the Ready, Set, Co. campaign. Very excited to partner up with our friends over at UC Health. We got to get Colorado back to its rightful place as the healthiest state. Coach Prime wants to help you and other Coloradans be your healthiest selves as the Chief Motivation Officer, the CMO of UC Health's Ready, Set, Co. Challenge. The goal of the challenge, like I said, get Colorado back to its rightful place as the healthiest state. I think we know we are the healthiest state inside. Now we got to prove it again, though.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, we got to remind them,
Nice.
as some people would say.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
8 hours of sleep is the magic number. Make a good night's sleep a priority. Put your phone down when you go to bed. Maybe try some guided sleep apps. That can help you too if you're trying to analyze your sleep and seeing, when you're in your deepest parts of your sleep, when you're waking up. You can also use those to, find better bedtime routines to get better nights of sleep.
I listened to Rain, like on
That's
YouTube.
good.
Just
Yeah.
like loops
See,
of Rain.
That was the top sound I drafted in our
That's
sounds draft.
right. Yeah.
If you want to join UC Health's Ready, Set, Co. Challenge, click the link in the show notes or go to www.uchealth.org/readysetco.
Technically, I'm not tall enough to drive, but if I were, I would get a Toyota. Toyota's the official vehicle of DNVR, and they've got a lot of options for Colorado, which is great because there are a lot of different Coloradans these days. No matter what kind of Coloradan you are, there's a Toyota for you. Trucks have always been a part of Toyota's DNA for generations. They build durable legends destined for greatness and perfect for Colorado, whether you are conquering off-road trails or hauling the weight of the world. There is a Toyota truck that's just right for you, like the all-new 2024 Tacoma, the return of the iconic 2024 Land Cruiser. Maybe you're not looking for a truck. Hard left turn, you might be looking for more low and zero emission vehicles. Well, Toyota has more of those combined than any other automaker to give their customers numerous choices to reduce their carbon footprint. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota Arapahoe in Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of the Denver Nuggets and the official vehicle of DNVR. Beep, beep.
Beep, beep. We are back. DNVR Nuggets Podcast segment 2. Let's get back into the practice notes.
Yes. I got distracted. Leaking ball popped up in the chat.
Dude, he gets in your head, man.
He honestly does.
Another year of Laking Ball getting
Be
in
honest.
Vogt's
The worst
head.
year, to be honest.
What is this, third year?
Year 3.
Real quick, if you guys aren't subscribed, we're only 5,000
Oh,
away,
yes.
and we've already gained 20 just since we've been live. So
Hell yeah.
go ahead and give us a
go.
subscribe, please.
100,000 is a big deal, man. 100,000. We're a top 2,000 podcast in America, or YouTube channel in America. Do you guys know that?
Wow.
I did not.
2,000.
Oh, that's
but
fun.
100,000, man, is like a dream goal of ours from years back,
Yeah.
and it's crazy that we're on the doorstep.
We get the cool button and everything. Help us out. Help us out. Okay, Michael Malone on Aaron Gordon, but specifically on this idea of Aaron Gordon as the years go by. What kind of player will he age into? And his game being predicated on athleticism, how does that work out? So Malone said on athletic decline, he said, well, it's a natural part of everybody's game. The longer you play, you lose some of it. There are examples like what Vince Carter and LeBron James are doing, but that's unheard of. With AG, if you take away that athleticism, he's a really good playmaker. We could play through him more. He even went on to mention that he's a backup point guard back in Orlando. And fellas, I would even go so far as to say this isn't something that necessarily has to wait. This is something they can do now. Yeah. And frankly, helped them in that Wolves series until they went away from it down the stretch. So I just liked hearing this note, but I also thought it was a good way to look at how AG can age, particularly in this kind of IQ-oriented phase of his career.
Well, there's another note to this, or layer to this, and I don't know if you guys caught this, but a couple weeks back, Michael Malone was asked some question about Jokic changing his, how can he improve? And he said, I think we're looking to have him handle the ball more. Jokic handles the ball a lot. But I thought that was an interesting note.
Yeah.
And then when he talks about today, AG handling the ball more. Well, Denver has a shortage of shooting. one way to increase your shooting is to give the ball to your non-shooters to initiate action. And I heard that note along with the Jokic one, and I thought that's going to be something to keep our eye on. Michael Malone might be trying to put the ball in their hands so that Murray becomes more of a spacer, not fully, but just changing the geometry of the court a little.
Here's another thing. They were scrimmaging on the main court yesterday, and the media got to watch probably like 15 minutes of it, so got a good look at the scrimmage. Jamal Murray was on a team with Christian Brown, and there was Jokic in the bench versus mostly the starters. And Christian Brown was bringing the ball up the floor every play. And that was interesting. And I almost said to somebody, why isn't Jamal Murray playing point guard? But I wonder if that's, to your point, Christian Brown handling the ball more.
And really something they've just talked about, putting the ball in different people's hands more in general. Even guys like Julian. So just wonder, that is an interesting note and an interesting direction to take it. And then maybe the most interesting Malone quote happened right out of the gate, where he was asked up front about developing young guys, and does that mean having to sacrifice wins?
I bet he loved that question.
He did, actually. He said, that's a good question.
That's actually, it's a sign he doesn't like the question.
If you look at the history of the game, when you just try to develop 3-4 young players, to do that and win at a high level is often very hard to do at the same time.
He's right.
He did list what he liked about the young players, what they've done already, that Christian was able to be a part of the rotation that won.
Yeah.
But he was still hanging on to this point. And he said, young guys, you go through some growing pains with them. Last year, they got a taste of it. But the bottom line is Christian, Julian, and Peyton, those three, they have to be good for us. If we're going to be a team that's dangerous, they have to be good for us. Said the good news is, from everything he can gather from being around them, those guys understand this and they're excited for the opportunity.
Yeah. Peyton kind of feels like the wild card right now at this moment, especially after Julian played so well in the preseason. And CB, I mean, you just kind of know what you're going to get from him. P-Watt, partly because we haven't seen him at all this preseason, and also because he probably has the highest ceiling out of those three. He's the dark horse right now. Like he's the wild card that could, potentially swing a lot of things right now.
Yeah.
I agree. So that's it, fellas, I think, in terms of the meat on the bone today.
You missed two things.
Oh, talk to me. What'd I miss?
Mark Kislov showed up, I believe, for the first time today.
I did miss this
Immediately
part.
threw me under the bus.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat. Michael Malone sits down and he goes, that guy says you're not going to win as many games this year. What do you think of that? That was his literal question.
Malone says,
a bold question to come through when you're at your first practice of the year.
I know.
Just calling out a fellow media member.
even Malone was shocked.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, maybe you guys need to talk this out. You don't need me.
Sounds like you might.
I thought it was great, though, honestly.
It actually was really funny.
And then the real story is, we talk about Westbrook and what does he draw to the team. It's been a main talking point. We've been, I don't want to overplay it. Malone talked about it yesterday during the scrimmage. It had the really good note. You can check. You tweeted it out, I believe, right? If not, it's up on our YouTube channel. But after the game, Jamal Murray always does his shot from the corner. Out of bounds. That's Jamal's shot. Well, Westbrook thinks, I think I'm better than you at that. Roll that footage. I think this is a perfect video.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. If we know Murray is a super competitor. Say what you will about him, but those moments, like, Murray's not a guy that likes losing that. That made him upset. But I also love one that Westbrook challenged him, beat him to it, but that Murray immediately matched.
One.
And by the way, Westbrook did not see that. He was gone. He hit his shot and was out the building.
He tried to walk it off.
And I know Murray ran to the locker room.
I
Was like,
hit that
hey,
next one.
hey.
Yeah.
It's a visual representation. It sounds dumb, of exactly what we've been trying to describe in terms of what we're hoping for. Yes, turn even that into a competition.
Yes.
Because Murray loves competition and Murray hates to lose. Someone in my mention said that Westbrook also does that to end practices, and he's been doing it for a long time.
Oh, that's his shot too?
I don't know if that's either way. This is awesome. I just love the way that's a great. And yeah, that's something Murray always does on his own. But just how about Are you going to be the first one though? Are you going to be the
I
first
love
one?
it,
I'm
man.
telling you,
It's
Murray
so
is
good.
Murray's going to be he's probably stewed over that for 30 minutes. Like, oh,
Yes.
I gotta,
I hope this becomes a recurring thing.
Totally.
Like
I bet,
every
yeah.
day.
Well, when you were playing the video, I thought Westbrook was going to win. I wasn't at practice, so I didn't know. And I was like, Jamal's going to be so pissed about that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
really cool moment.
Tomorrow, they're going to be throwing quarters against the wall at the end of practice.
Munson walking away.
All right, let's break it out. We're going to do this over the next 2 segments, but Aaron Gordon's deal, we talked about it yesterday at Emergency Show.
Yes.
We didn't have wind around. We'll talk about that now, but here's the number one takeaway as you digest it. It really is a commitment to the four. And I think the biggest thing to me, the four being Michael Porter, Murray, Jokic, and now Aaron Gordon. And much was made about the KCP departure. And look, Denver could have gotten both deals done this year. They would have had to really maneuver, and it would have limited them in some of the maneuvers they could make, behind that. But nonetheless, it would have put them in a tight spot. But one thing people thought was, is this going to happen to AG, this or that? I think it's clear that the front office ownership looked at this and said, we have to get rid of one, and KCP is the most likely. And they have a commitment now that is a long-term commitment to a core four that I think it recontextualized a little bit of, the KCP move as well.
Yeah, I mean, the KCP move was tough to swallow at the time. But I think if you look at everything, you can understand Denver's thinking there. If they were to not really make a big effort to re-sign Aaron Gordon, that would be much tougher to understand.
Impossible, really.
Yeah, I mean, you have Peyton Watson back there, but he's really a 3, I think. I don't think he's that long-term power forward replacement. I don't think he's that guy. I don't think he wants to be that guy. That's not it. And so this was really a deal the Nuggets had to make. And, Aaron Gordon wanted it, of course. Aaron Gordon, the Nuggets are so far and away the best basketball situation for Aaron Gordon that he could ever find. It's partly why he just made $150 million, because he's on the Nuggets right now. I don't think he'd be signing this extension if he went to another team when the Nuggets traded for him. He's just in the perfect situation next to Nikola Jokic and the perfect team. So it's a no-brainer for him to want to be here. But, for the Nuggets, if you're going to still have a contender in Nikola Jokic's prime, you had to make this move. You kind of just had to. And like you said, it also allows you to build a team around that too. You can go into the free agent market a little bit, which I'm sure we'll talk about. You're not in the second apron right now. So it gives you a little wiggle room, and it also keeps your amazing team together.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to be all in on at least 4 of these guys. I wish KCP was here. I understand him not being here, because if you're doing anything less than just committing to them and trying to win, you don't even bother signing Murray to that extension. Porter's traded by now. It's shameless. You just get under the apron. But there is, as long as you have these 4 guys, you have a chance. And I think Denver has shown conviction in that going back to 2018, 2019, before the injuries and throughout the injuries.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where I get at. We could play fan fiction with the cap sheet. What if Porter was on a slightly different deal? But I think what Denver did was, as a small market, they said, we're not going to get too cute. We're going to do whatever we can do to keep these 4 together. And things will have to change around that, but that's the foundation. And even as they endured the injuries, they didn't make fundamental shakeups. And that frustrated people because they had to watch Facu start or whatever. But what they weren't going to do was abandon the plan. And so I have just really appreciated Denver's conviction in the last 4 or 5 years of just saying, no, it's these guys. We have to pay them. It's our best bet, because I just think that's how you win. Who's expensive right now? Boston, Denver, Minnesota, the Knicks. What do they all have in common? The teams with a chance of winning a title. So often we appreciate the really savvy cap management and cheap deals that a lot of these mid teams pull off this time of year. But who cares, man? The teams that are trying to win show conviction in their plan. And I think that's what Denver's done here. And what they have for it now is 1 title and these 4 locked in. So I think it's just a great day to be a Nuggets fan.
I agree. And on top of that, though, that is almost just the raw, vicious numbers, win, loss, whatever.
Yeah.
The 76ers motto was trust the process. The process was Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons, and Embiid. Then it was Jimmy Butler. than it was James Harden. James Harden was on their roster a year ago, right?
Right,
Like he was there this time. He got traded right before the start of the season. Like there's something about they've had Embiid, at least to latch onto, but it's so rare that we have gotten to watch Murray, Jokic, and Michael Porter for 8 seasons now, and looking like it'll be at least 9, 10, 11 more. And Aaron Gordon, although he is a late comer to this, if he plays out this contract, we're going to get him as part of this for 8 total years as well. And that's honestly, man, when we're old and gray and remembering the good old days, the golden era, it's going to be fun that we don't have to remember 8 fragmented mini versions of the same thing. We can be like, oh no, man, those 4 guys, they gave us a lot of years.
Yeah. And I'll always say it, man. Winning a championship that way, it just is. Yeah. It means more than winning a championship the super team way. It
1,000%.
And you don't know it until it's happened, but ask anybody who's experienced both, and they'll tell you winning with a group that you kind of drafted and a group that's been together for a long time, it just means more. And I'm excited.
I think if these 4 get another one together, which I recognize as a big if, just for anyone, right? It's always easier to pick the field. If these 4 get another one together, I think all 4 of their numbers should get retired together next to each other.
That'd be so sick,
Probably.
man.
Yeah.
That'd be so sick. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, another angle to this. It sets them up for future flexibility, including one maneuver that could possibly see the reuniting of a former Nugget.
Oh my
What
God.
a tease, you son of a gun.
Whew. Bet365, never ordinary. Bet365 is what we use to bet here at DNVR, and I'm excited for Thursday because we'll have our pregame show, of course, ahead of the Nuggets opener, and of course we'll be handing out our best bets for that night, or I should say Dev will be handing out his best bets for that night. He'll be doing so on the Bet365 app. I'm just looking right now. The Nuggets are off the board. Are they not on here? I think they were 2.5-point favorites the last time I saw, but I don't see them on here right now. They'll be on there, though, on Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app. You can hit that QR code right there on the screen. You can use the code DNVR365 when you sign up. Deposit $10. You can choose between a couple different offers. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
With Empire Today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. You also shop with the peace of mind knowing you're only getting the best of the best because Empire Today doesn't bother carrying anything less. They don't even advertise low quality products that you can say are so cheap. They've got the best prices.
Sorry, the chat's cracking me up.
Sorry, it's good. No, you're good. Love the chat. So you'll see a lot of copycats out there, but the way you can catch their trick is if they say we've got the lowest prices, it's because they have the lowest quality products. Empire wouldn't put it in their home, they wouldn't put it in yours. Their philosophy is to help you find what you need, not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. Check out their virtual floor designer. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code DNVR. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/DNVR for details.
Nuggets minus 2.5. I'm looking at it right now on the Bet365 app.
Man, speaking of which, I know we're doing previews tomorrow, by the way. Hartenstein being out is for 6 weeks, reevaluated in 6 weeks. That's why I was so high on Oklahoma City. I mean, they're still going to be good, but we're not talking about that. Him not being there for that game is kind of big.
Well, he misses 2 games against the Nuggets now.
2 games against the Nuggets, and
he would play, I'd say, more against the Nuggets than he probably would in a lot of other matchups.
So interesting little absence from them.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to talk about. So real quick, it was reported trade kicker involved. It's very common for these. Player option on the last year trade kicker. I am told that it's not a full trade kicker, which I think would have been 15%. It's much smaller than that. But nonetheless, just factor that into the equation of like the likelihood of him even getting traded is somewhat lower because of that, but also not impossible. I don't think that's the Nuggets' plan. I don't think they signed this deal thinking like, all right, we can move off in the summer. But it is a thing where you look at the final 2 years or something like that. There's a trade kicker involved that's at least some amount of money. So there you should know. What this also does is position Denver to where they're very likely to have access to the MLE next year. The MLE. And one player that is on an expiring deal this year who probably fits into that MLE zone, one Brucey B. Bruce Brown is probably an MLE candidate. We know how much he loves Denver. He's probably riding horses somewhere right now ahead of their
just
game.
Do it again. MLE, sign for a big one.
We're way too far ahead of ourselves to be talking about next year's free agency, but I did think it was at least when you start to see the pieces and how Denver's positioning themselves for flexibility around the big four.
Yeah.
And that means Peyton Watson, Julian Strawther, Christian Brown, I don't know if those guys are all here for the long haul. They're probably like one or two of them for the long haul, and we'll see. But there is a chance that there's just a vacancy there. And I look at that and I go, a Brucey B reunion in Denver next year would actually be so dope. And it's possible, but it now is more possible than I think it was 24 hours ago.
Wow, it'd be incredible. It'd be wild.
The vibes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he'd take a little bit of a discount to come back here. I think he would. And I don't think his value is anywhere close to where it was when he signed with the Pacers 2 years ago.
But you sign a 1+1 MLE, you
just do it
opt
again.
out, you just paid another 40.
Do it
I know.
again.
Why wouldn't he just run it back and do the same thing?
100%.
It would be actually the greatest stories if Brucey B did 2 stints in Denver that earned him 4 stints elsewhere at a huge price.
So they're going to have access to the taxpayer MLE because they'll be above the first apron.
I'm sorry, tax MLE. I did say full. I meant tax
So
MLE.
it's going to be
Apologies.
like 6-7 million or something starting salary.
It
Throw them, some horse rides on the side.
matters, right? It matters that they could upgrade this way, and that is the significance of Gordon doing it this way. And I think that is the way that you look at this as a hometown discount. Is he did them a favor by just saying, "I'm opting in. We'll do it this way," and you guys have that tiny bit of flexibility. So hopefully they use it well, but it is nice that it's created.
It would be cool if, I like the team this year. I do think they have a shot at winning. I've said this. They have a real shot at winning a title this year.
Not according to Mark Kisla.
Not according to Mark Kisla.
Yeah, I
Even if
heard
I do
differently.
think there are real concerns, and we're going to talk about those tomorrow a little bit, and just where exactly I personally... Oh, gosh. all of
Dude,
us
on the laptop, that's unreal.
What a foul!
Oh
What
my
a foul.
God.
It's good, though. It only happened on the front part. I think I'm safe.
I think I see sparks.
What
Wow.
a foul. What a party
I don't think
foul.
that's ever happened on this show
No,
before.
we've done this
I saw it happening earlier, too, because I almost did it earlier in the show.
And we've had some dangerous beverages around computers on this show. Thank
but look
you,
at Kale, man.
Thank
the
you.
absolute
Thank you, Kale.
hero.
Frankly, I'm shocked I haven't done this
I mean,
before.
we've had coffees, Rakia.
Yeah.
By the way, keep your ear to the ground on a special drink coming to the DNVR bar.
More
God,
announcements
this is,
coming
by the way,
soon.
all of the stuff we've done this week that's been awesome.
Yeah.
That's the biggest
And it's
one.
it's Nuggets themed too, and I think it's gonna kind of set the internet on fire a little bit.
Oh, man.
We've had a lot of beverages that has never happened.
It has never
Somehow.
happened. Brucey B.
Stuff
got me
spilled
so
on the
excited.
floor, not the computer.
Got me so excited. Do we have like a bin I can throw this ice
I mean,
into?
it'll dry its ice.
It'll draft.
Well, it's
but
gonna
anyway,
melt first. But,
But unlike the last years where it's like you kind of knew the team was almost going to have to take a step back,
Yeah.
there is a world where the Nuggets don't take a step. Like if they win a title this year, it's realistic to be like, did the Nuggets get better in 2025?
I mean, imagine if you win the title this year.
Throw me off the show, Kale.
You win the championship this year. Next year, you can add Bruce Brown back to the gang.
The
I mean,
vibes would be unbelievable.
Imagine Bruce Brown signing early in the summer after a championship. The vibes the rest of the offseason would be unmatched. Almost did it again
almost did it
on my
again.
computer. I do need a new computer.
20 minutes left, Adam. Keep it together.
Oh, God, get my shit together.
Someone said I've seen thousands of shows.
You're
That
right.
is for sure a first.
You're right. This is a first. We actually don't know what to do.
The computer's doing great. Computer is humming along.
I think
so
if it's
far.
water, it's usually okay.
How many episodes do you think we've done together? Like as a,
We could probably know that.
thousands.
We could probably find that out.
I'm sure we could.
The other thing I wondered is like, over the next couple years, if we just kind of look forward, who are the guys that you think are most likely to complement? Because I do think that Denver's now pot committed to 4 guys, and everybody that cycles through is going to be low paid, lower level guys. And so you look at that and you start to project. Strawther's been playing great. He's got a lot more runway. You know, Peyton Watson's already in year 3, Christian Brown in year 3. So there is some of that you look around and you go, it's hard to project forward, but I think Strawther might actually end up being the guy that has the longest runway. Other guys have a chance. I'm just saying that one, if I was placing bets.
I wonder, we're a year out from this, but next summer leading into the season, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson will be eligible for extensions.
Yeah.
I wonder if the Nuggets are going to maybe have to choose between one of those guys.
I think it's possible.
And that would suck, but that might be where we're headed if you're keeping this core four together and having that MLE open to work with. And you've got Julian Strawther coming up, who's a year behind them. But I wonder if that's a choice the Nuggets might have to think about making heading into next year.
The thing about Julian is he's certainly, I think, earned some trust with his work ethic. I think he has believers both on the staff and in the front office in his skill set. But there's a ceiling, I think, too. Like, there's a lot of room for growth for Julian.
Yeah.
Like, I think you can envision Christian is this good plug fit in theory on paper with the starters because of his defense. But I think you could envision Strawther, becoming a more dynamic player in the NBA. The best version of him is going to score more points. He's going to draw more eyeballs. And there's versatility, right? So, or at least budding versatility for him in his game. So I think he is a guy who has a chance to be the one that Malone and maybe the front office invest in the most.
I think so too. And also Malone really likes him, man. You can just tell. I mean, I always talk about how important it is, but Malone really loves this guy. And I think Deron Holmes too. You look at this now and go, you pay a lot of money for your starting power forward. You need a cheap one. Yeah. Deron Holmes is a guy that, we don't know anything about him really. Almost nothing. But he is a guy that will probably be an important player. Like, they can't have him Zeke Naji.
No, they
need Deron Holmes now to be a guy that they can count on at least for a couple of years. And I just think when you step back and look at it, they're so pot committed to those four. I do think if you look at it, if things go south this year and the team is bad, I do think that Michael Porter and Jamal Murray are players that could get traded. Again, if things really go south.
Sure.
But I think the plan is for the Nuggets just to have this window and they're always have a seat at the table. And if that's the case, you ride with that and you build around them. And those are the guys I think you build with. Let's start. We guys have a couple more minutes here. Let's get a little bit into latest notes from the preseason because we haven't had a show, like a full show, since that last Thursday game. I wasn't on it. You guys hit it. You guys did a great job. Jamal Murray really looked good in that one. Like, really looked good. It wasn't, he made shots today or whatever. Like, he had multiple behind-the-back passes to Jokic in the pocket. Mm-hmm. And, as I've been preparing for this season preview and just getting ready for the year, going back, one thing that's very underappreciated about Jamal Murray is how freaking good he is in the two-man game. It's not just Jokic. And I don't even think this is a thing of like, if you plugged in Tyrese Maxey, because no, Murray is specifically good at knowing how to get Jokic the ball in his spots, how to freeze defenders and when they're playing drop coverage, how to get to the rim, how to shake. And Murray in that game, you watch it and you're like, dude, he looked like Jokic when Jokic's in his bag, where every decision he made turning the corner on pick and roll was the right one.
And the back-to-back or the behind-the-back pocket passes to Jokic and stuff.
Yeah.
That it's
easy.
That's the thing about moving on from Jamal or any version of that conversation that's popped up is you might even say, like, here's a better player in a vacuum, but you might be starting over on this kind of chemistry. You know what? There's one they've picked up that I think is new from the last 2 to 3 years. It's almost like a back shoulder entry pass where it kind of looks like it's going to be a turnover because Jokic is still kind of jockeying for position, and Murray will throw that low one, like kind of at his outside ankle, and Jokic like scoops it into a gather, right? Yeah. And they're like, it's such a that's a pass that Murray knows because they read each other's. They have muscle memory for each other's muscles. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
And they
That's great.
They know where each other wants to be. And so like there are those little things that would be missing if it were a different point guard.
Oh, yeah, that shouldn't be overstated. Nikola Jokic will never play with another guard ever in his career and have better chemistry than he has with Jamal Murray. Or anything close, I would think.
Like, Donovan Mitchell's a really good player, and I think a lot of people would say better than Jamal. But if you just brought him up, if you swap those two guys, I don't think they would have the chemistry in year one at least.
No,
I agree.
They probably would never.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things that we probably take for granted a little bit, just how they play off each other, how they read each other, the chemistry there for sure.
Like one of the things I'm doing is I'm like going through second spectrum videos. You can do like Murray screens Jokic ball, or Murray ball handler, Murray to Jokic, and then you can sort by wide open. The amount of wide open, like oftentimes we'll see a play work and you're like, oh, Jokic got wide open on this, or was that an easy shot, bad defense? But when you watch him back to back, you're like, Murray is so good at making that defender get in a lose-lose situation. Like, he just is really good at putting him in the exact moment where it's like, I have to step out. And now Jokic's wide open under the basket for a layup. And that game to me was so encouraging, in large part because of that one trade. I just thought he looked great. He made his threes. And the threes were like pure.
He didn't hesitate.
He just had a seriousness about him that honestly we have not seen for a long time, like a really long time. And it was so encouraging. And then Julian Strawther, let's get to him on the other side because there's enough there that it's not going to be 1-2 minutes.
No kidding.
Guys, check out ZBiotics. ZBiotics, you can get 15% off at zbiotics.com/DNVR Nuggets. ZBiotics is a game-changing product that I use before a night out with drinks. It's called pre-alcohol. Let's face it, after a night with drinks, I didn't bounce back the next day like I used to. I cannot bounce back anymore. I have to make a choice. I can either have a great night or a great next day. That was the predicament until I found pre-alcohol. So ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. That's why you feel dehydrated. Pre-alcohol, it produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down, so you don't feel dehydrated. Check out ZBiotics today. I kept hearing about pre-alcohol and wondering what it was actually like. Now that I've tried it, I believe the hype. With their GMO technology, they will release different products that help address toxic byproducts of modern living in the gut. So go to zbiotics.com/DNVR Nuggets to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use the code DNVR Nuggets at checkout. ZBiotics is backed by 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked.
Can you feel it? Can you smell it? Denver Nuggets basketball is just around the corner. Thursday, October 24th, we'll take on the OKC Thunder as the boys are back in Ball Arena, and so can you be too. Does that work grammatically?
Sure.
So,
Yeah,
and you can also
I got what it meant.
get Game Time, where you can get yourself the best prices to the best seats at the last second for all of the best events. That's kind of their deal. Sometimes season ticket holders, folks who go to a lot of games, they realize that their nice seats, their usual seats, well, they won't be using them that night. And sometimes you, the buyer, you don't think of it. Your boy just got to town and it just occurred to you, the Nuggets are in town. Let's go watch them play. It's never too late when you fire up Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events easier. Basically, it's a filter. You are looking at the best deals, and you don't have to do that kind of mental stress. Have I shopped enough? Have I compared enough? Just use the Game Time's Pick filter. Again, take a look at that event on Thursday, as in the Denver Nuggets season opener against the Thunder. Maybe you can get yourself in the building. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time.
Game time. What do we have here, Kale? So Patrick Rasmussen, longtime follower of the show, big time fan. He says, I've got a clip of today's show.
Seriously.
Tough one out there. Tough one on these streets. Guys, by the way, Thursday, if you're not going to the game, you got to be here. You got to be at the bar. I'm telling you, it's going to be a vibes fest. We might have an incredible new drink at the bar that I cannot wait. We'll just have to tease it for now because I'm not sure it'll be ready by Thursday, but it might be. Get here, man, because I'm telling you, it's a late game. Worth it. It's going to be incredible. That first one, and the vibes are picking up, man. Let's create a super vibe this year at the DNVR Bar.
We're supposed to fall back in love with basketball together. So let's start right off the bat.
Helping us with that is Julian Strawther, because my God, did he have an unbelievable preseason, including in that last game. And to me, guys, look, the shooting, he didn't shoot the ball well last year. He shot it well in preseason, looked really good. That part, you need a big sample size before I buy into shooting or don't buy into it. I think he's a shooter. I'm just saying that's not why I'm excited. I'm excited because of his ability to connect two plays together. And that's a thing that is so important in a continuity offense. He can go from, you ran a play for me, I caught the ball, but I'm not fully open. Well, what do I do with it to keep the offense moving without like a hesitation or whatever? And he is so good at that. His handle is way better than I thought it was. Way better than it was last year, quite frankly. Gets low, gets through tight spaces, and has those long strides. I put out on Twitter every basket sorted by type from the preseason. And he had a lot of them, more than any other player. The thing that stood out to me was how many of them were drives. It was a lot of drives through traffic to get to the rim. That is something that Denver has not had since Will Barton, to be honest with you.
Yep.
But even he obviously came with his weaknesses. Julian Strawther brings, if he plays with, that's another ball handler that can do things with the ball. And he showed it at an NBA level in preseason, and I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, and he proved he's not just a shooter.
Not at all.
But that's his most important skill probably for this team, but he has so many other tools in his toolbox. You know, he's a really well-rounded offensive player, probably more well-rounded than I gave him credit for, you know, over the summer in the offseason. But yeah, he can handle it and get to the rim and get to that floater. He's just a basketball player, man. Especially on offense. No, he can do a little bit of everything. He never looks out of place.
Do you remember when we talked to him over Summer League, he was like, yeah, in high school I wasn't a shooter, I was a scorer. In Gonzaga, they're like, we need you to be a shooter, so I focused on shooting, which is probably good for him long term. But he considers himself a scorer, not a shooter.
Right.
And he, to be honest, looks like it.
Yeah.
The other thing with Strawther is I think he's a really good example. He's a very, very talented guy, but just what work can do for you.
Oh, yeah.
Strawther has been thinking, saying, and then I think doing the right things.
He's done everything right since last season.
Yep.
And we got a taste of it covering Summer League where he looked awesome. His ankle was so bad. Like we would go and interview him after those games and that thing was so swollen and so taped up and he still played as well as he did. And then to me, this stuff can be overstated, misunderstood, hard to read. But then we got to talk to him after those games and it was all very matter of fact about the way he was thinking the game,
true.
his approach to his work ethic, trying to be coachable, what he's going to get out of Summer League or going to the G League. So some of the little things that are reasons why talented guys don't make it while they're on the bubble, these things swing heavily in Strawther's favor, the work ethic. And I just think the way he thinks about his career is going to do him a lot of favors.
I love both of those points. I thought you guys absolutely nailed it. He does have a maturity to him, and he had a line that was kind of funny because Julian seems like a guy that knows how to have fun. You know what I mean? Some guys don't, and you're kind of like, do you know what to do with yourself when you have a full summer off? And some guys literally don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah.
He looks like a guy that could fill a summer with fun activities, but he didn't. He said, I sacrificed my whole summer to be here. He was around the team. And it literally sounds like he didn't take a vacation. Like he didn't get away or anything because he knew this is my opportunity. This is a summer where I can make the biggest leap, and it looks like it's paying off.
He said his vacation was Summer League, where he played through an ankle sprain.
Hey, mine
Going
too.
back to his hometown, Vegas.
Yeah, no, that is true. But another thing that's interesting, Michael Malone called out his defense in a positive way. He said he's a phenomenal team defender. He needs to get better on ball, and he can. But in terms of knowing where he's supposed to be, what he's supposed to do, and knowing his personnel, he's already great at it.
Man, I got to just ask Michael Malone why he loves this guy so much. Just straight up.
Well, you kind of know the answer to this.
What do you think he would say?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons. I don't think it's one. But, man, it's the hidden truth of Malone that we're bringing out. He loves shooting.
Yeah.
Michael Malone would have, like, the Phoenix Suns roster. And I think most people would think he wants the Bad Boys Pistons. By the way, dropped the Bad Boys Pistons reference today. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
It really was great.
What was the reference?
Well, physicality, of course.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to be like, back in my day, the Bad Boys.
Hey, where's Scott Hastings? Scott.
So funny. But you think he'd like that. But Mike Malone loves hoopers, man. He loves shooters. And and Julian Strawther is a shooter. I think that's a big part of it.
Too.
And a worker.
And
that's
smart. In that same practice, and this was one I want to say Sunday over the weekend, so I don't think we've talked about this yet, but I did ask Malone about, at this level as a coach, how much of it is trusting these guys to do the work on their own versus who you can micromanage. And he says, the big guys, he kind of don't like, he's not going to go to Sombor and chicken on Jokic. He said, I'm never worried about Porter. Even if he's not here, I know he's in the gym.
Loved that, by the way.
But with the younger guys, he says, you do have a little more agency and sort of like, hey, I want you to do this. I want you to work on this. But he never had to with Julian Strawther. He said.
And people have asked me this because Michael Malone, to me, this is meaningful. He's brought it up multiple times. Julian was here a lot, was here every day. Christian was here a lot. Peyton Watson was in here some. Like he's brought that up. And I'm not trying to say, is Jamal back? Oh, did it overheat her?
Something, yeah.
Oh, but we're still alive.
Yes.
Okay. But I think this was, a thing where I don't want people to read into this too much and think, these guys, because I think all the guys worked. But there is something to the coaching staffs would love when the guys work with them when they're young. And they understand all these guys in the season, you belong to the team. In the summer, you get to do your own thing. And sometimes guys want to work on their own game because they don't want to be pigeonholed into a role or just because they want to be around friends and family or whatever. And I think when he says that comment, he's talking about, yeah, man, when you're on a rookie contract, I would rather you just be here. And Julian was the guy that took that most to heart. And I do think that I'm not saying he favors that, but I do think it means something to him.
It means a lot. I mean, it means a lot. It means something different to every different organization. But if you're a young guy in Denver the whole summer, that will go a long way with the coaching staff.
Vlatko Čančar played great in this game. I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that he played a lot of minutes with Jokic and Murray.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because he is, I mean, as all players do.
Who are you, Michael Malone?
But I think that it also was because some guys are better at that than others.
Yes.
And I think he's an example of a guy who just, like, he had cuts under the basket that were perfectly timed. And, like, he's great at that stuff, just connecting. And it makes me wonder, like, I don't know where Vlatko fits into this because he is really good at that, but you don't change your rotation to accommodate Vlatko Čančar.
Right, as opposed to playing with a bench where maybe feel for the game doesn't go as far when it's more of a chaos adventure.
Yeah,
1,000%.
And it's going to come down to a lot. What do these rotations look like? People were kind of peppering Malone yesterday at practice about his rotations.
Love it.
Are you going to have either Joker or Jamal on the floor at all times? What's the stagger going to look like? And he played it coy and close to the chest. And, he said, we might do the same thing as last year. We might do something different. I don't know. I've got to think that it's mostly going to be similar to last year and maybe some little tweaks here and there. Especially after Nikola Jokic yesterday was like, yeah, I think I should play with more of the bench. He just said it.
Well, let's get to that.
Yeah.
So that comment was very interesting to me.
Yeah, it was. It came after he played a scrimmage with 4 bench guys and him.
Who was it?
It was Peyton Watson, Zeke Naji at the 3-4, Westbrook, and Strawther.
Yep, there you go.
And then the other team was the starters and who?
At center, was it Vlatko? Was it Aaron Gordon maybe at center?
Charge.
I think Charge. Yeah, I think Charge.
So here's one thing, though, to consider. Michael Malone every year has those starters together. It really is a thing. And it has made sense to some degree in previous years because there's been so clearly a best 5. Not a best 4, not a best 3, but a best 5. And this year there's not. I mean, I like Christian Braun there. I really do. And I think he's going to be better in the regular season than he was in the preseason. I sure hope he is. But it's not a guy that you have to, like, build your whole rotation around. To me... And then when you hear Yoke say that, I really do think the Nuggets got to a playoffs and didn't know what they looked like in certain scenarios. And all of a sudden, Justin Holiday's playing 40 minutes. So I think that this is a thing where Yoke saying it means something to me.
Of course, yeah. And also, Malone's reasoning for it is always, look, that lineup's really freaking good. Why wouldn't I play those guys together?
Right.
And he's totally right with that. But the counter is, how much worse would they be? Especially this year. If you sub Julian in for Christian and Peyton Watson in for Aaron Gordon. And I don't think it'd be that much worse.
And equally as importantly, and I'm going to throw Michael Porter in this, in part because I would love to see him playing with the bench.
Yeah.
But some lineups might call for a Strawther, a Russ, other guys. And I just think it's important to know really thoroughly what you have in multiple different configurations. So when you get to the playoffs and you go, oh, it's Minnesota, we probably need this lineup for their best lineup. Oh, it's Oklahoma City, we probably need this lineup for that. And just having the versatility to be able to say, we're not playing lineups we've never seen before for the first time.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is Jokic is more amenable to this than one might think. Obviously, he just said it explicitly, but Malone has even said in the past that Jokic gets a kick out of playing with young guys on the bench.
Yeah.
I think whereas some superstars might find that exhausting or beneath them or whatever, it's like how Jokic approaches this season. He's probably going to spend the first month just passing it to Christian Braun.
Right.
You figured this out, man. And I think Jokic doesn't mind being, in fact, kind of likes being a part of that process maybe more than some would expect.
Oh, I think he genuinely likes playing with other guys.
Yeah.
And mixing it up.
Yeah.
And by the way, Christian Braun played with the star. I put this out last night. Christian Braun played with the other starting 4 in KCP's place. 40 total minutes last year, 28 in the regular season, 12 in the Wolves series. A significant portion of his total minutes with the lineup came in do-or-die situations.
Yeah. And that's interesting, like when they're up against it, what do they go to?
They go to new things.
Yeah.
So it would be nice if you kind of knew a little bit better what everything looked like. So I love it. Love that Yoke called it out. I think this year is going to be so fascinating. Tomorrow, emerging narratives and predictions for the season.
Predictions
I can't wait.
tomorrow.
We're going on record.
Woo.
Everybody can clip us. Do we have any super chats, Cal?
DJ C Hawk AG is hashtag Mr. Nugget for life. All we need to do now is win the chip. I'll cop a 32 jersey. That's going to be an all-time jersey.
It really is, man.
If they win. PS Vogt, I would love to be an official sponsor once I get my LLC.
Nice.
Brother, I'll forward you along to the powers that be.
Nice.
There you go. I mean, he said vote, so maybe he just wants to sponsor you personally.
I am.
What if it was
forcing-
just, and now we have on the show Brendan Vogt, presented
My lower third actually just says Cedric, like it contractually obligated.
by Playboy Bunny or whatever.
So good.
Guys, this NBA season starts tonight. I can't believe we have to wait till Thursday for the Nugs, but that's all right. We'll be back tomorrow with our last show of the preseason, and then it's go time. Hit that like button on the way out. Check out Become a Diehard. The preview is phenomenal. I promise you, it's going to be worth it just for the preview alone, but we're going to have great stuff all year. Hit the like button on the way out.
We all silly like the mayor.